Hey guys, Vamika here, and my question for you is your competitive nature keeping you from winning? Okay, so in the last few posts that I did, I talked about complaining, I talked about comparing, and now I'm going to address this whole competitive nature. Now, I myself am a very competitive person. Uh, so when I was at Power Lunch on Wednesday, and he started talking about how competition can take you away from God's will. Uh, at first, I was kind of like, but a lot of times when we hear some things, we kind of take some things out of context, and that's what I did immediately because I love competition. Now, here's when competition becomes an issue. Okay, keeping up with the Joneses, which is a form of competition, that's horrible. And the reason it's so bad is because it causes you to go out of your way to compete with someone else in a way that's just ridiculous. All right, and your competitive spirit, that being over competitive, trying to keep up with the Joneses, it's unhealthy competition. There's a healthy competition and it's unhealthy. Playing in a basketball game and you know winning and losing and fair sportsmanship. That's a healthy competition. There's nothing wrong with us competing. The problem is when we start going overboard without competing, where we take it to the next level, where I have to beat you. If I don't beat you, it's a problem. I have to do whatever I can to be better than you. It's that whole "I'm better than you" mentality. It's one thing to say, you know, um, I beat you in this game. I beat you at this. I beat you at that. I was better than you at that during that day, any given Sunday, right? But it's a whole nother thing when you spend your time, you spend your life, you spend your money, your energy on trying to compete with, where other people are in their life, where they are in their finances, where they are with their house, with their cars. Uh, that's a problem. That's a pretty big problem. And what they pointed out was that it does three things. Okay, an extreme competitive nature, an unhealthy competitive nature. It erodes your character. Why? Because you'll do anything to win. Like, I don't know if you know anybody like that, but I know plenty of people that will bend over backwards just to say that they beat you. I'm better than you. My kids are better than you. I can send my kids. My kids go to a private school. Where do your kids go? And they broke. Oh, but their kids go to a private school though. They better than you. That's a problem. Um, it erodes your character for one. Two, it's going to limit you because you're spending all this time trying to be better than somebody else, that you really can't do the things that are necessary because you're spending all your time, all your money doing this nonsense just so you can be better than somebody else. And thirdly, it leaves you broke and broken because at the end of the day, what happens is, once you go broke trying to compete, um, then you're left broken because you have nothing. Because you let all of the stuff that you have been working for, you let it fall through the cracks because you spent so much time focusing on another person. Um, in the boot camps that I run, I love for people to be competitive. But I don't want anybody to be overly competitive. I don't want you to look at someone and be so competitive that you will compromise your character and limit yourself and end up broken just to beat them. At the end of the day, what do you get out of that? Bragging rights? Really? Not good enough. All right, so today, think about your competitive nature. Are you extremely competitive to the point where you will compromise your character just to win? Where, are you so competitive that you find yourself being in a place of deficit, of deficiency, of limit? Are you placing limits on yourself because you're trying to be better than people, a person? Um, really evaluate those things. Are you broken right now because you've been spending so much time trying to be better than a sibling? Sibling rivalry is a huge thing. Um, I have a sister and I have a brother, and I don't want to be better than them. It's not my goal in life to always have the upper hand on them. Of course, I want to be great, but I want to be as great as Vamika can be. And the things that Vamika is supposed to be doing in life are different than the things that my sister Demisha or the things that my brother Bernardo is supposed to be doing. And I understand that. Now, I love to compete. But I'm not gonna compromise my character, limit myself, or end up broken, just so I can say, "Oh yeah, Demisha, I'm better than you. You know, I've done this and you haven't," and that's pointless. It gets you nowhere and it has no purpose. Um, you being better than someone, what does it really mean? Nothing. Society may appreciate it, but it's always going to be somebody else that's better than you. It's always going to be somebody that's richer than you, that has a better car, that makes more money, whose kids are more talented. That's just life. But the great thing about it is that God made us all unique for a reason. Okay? So just because that person, has this thing, doesn't mean you have to be focused on somebody else. Stop focusing so much on what other people have and trying to be better than them, and focus more on helping people. See, if you're constantly competitive, then you're more selfish than you are selfless. And God created us to be selfless. God created us so we can help one another, but you'll never be able to help anybody else because you constantly have your foot on their neck trying to get up higher than them. All right. And how I relate this competitiveness back to fitness is a lot of times we looking at people and we want to be better than them. I want to have way better abs than her. Such and such from down the street lost a whole bunch of weight. I'm going to be better than her. And you find yourself doing things like popping pills because you want to be better than them and you want to lose it faster. So now you're compromising your character. You're limiting what your body can actually do for you naturally. And at the end of the day, when you're constantly yo-yo dieting and taking these crazy pills that are going to affect your liver, you're going to end up broken. So, competition. It can be healthy, but you have got to put a limit on how far you're willing to go. It has got to be a healthy competition. Okay? It's nothing wrong with being competitive, but make it healthy. All right? It's not always about the win. Okay, maybe we need to redefine what winning is. Winning isn't always about getting a W. It's the things you learn from the win. Okay, it's nothing wrong with failing every once in a while. It's nothing wrong with being in a state where you didn't win, because you can learn so much from not always winning. And maybe that's something that you ought to think about. Winning isn't all that it's cracked up to be all the time. Of course, everybody wants to win. That's what our nation says. You have to win. But if you're always winning, then you never fail. And if you never fail, you can never learn. You don't learn, you don't gain major life lessons from winning all the time. All you think is that you can win. And then what you find yourself doing is you don't do anything unless you are sure that you're going to win. All right, this fitness walk is not easy. There are going to be days when you're going to fail. There are going to be days when it's going to be really tough. You're going to be struggling in your mind. Things aren't going to be going the way that you want them to. But that's okay. It's all right. All right, because the great thing is you'll have another moment, not another day. Hopefully you'll have another day, but it's not about the next day. It's about the next moment. You're living this life from moment to moment. Be the best you can be in this moment. Okay? Be the best that you can possibly be with your eating, with your fitness. Give it 110% of everything that you have. And I guarantee you that competitive nature is the driving force that's there is going to be answered, because at the end of the day that you gave it everything that you had. So guys, I'm just wondering, is your competitive nature keeping you from winning? Think about it. Are you too competitive sometimes? Good question to ask. Ask yourself.